Well, I just thought I'd do an update. This is my view from my balcony at Airbnb. It's a really nice place, and I'm very lucky because I'm here for the whole week. So it's the first time since arriving here in America that I'm going to be spending a week in one place, which is really nice. It's good just to be able to do things like unpack, do a wash of clothes and things like that, and going to go for a run in a short while. But yeah, after the update from over in Boston, I thought I'd just do a quick update on where I've been. Washington, and my first day over here in Oregon, Washington. I've done a blog about it, but it's really fantastic experience. Different to what I'm going to be doing over here, really, in Oregon and Washington State, because it was about meeting people who are coordinating things, who are working with policymakers. I got a fantastic meeting with a woman, Osa Raman, who works in Patty Murray, who's a senator from Washington State's office. Patty Murray is one of the senators who are really passionate about trauma-informed approaches, and so it's heads the health committee in the Senate over there. So a very important role that she plays, and has helped to inform a lot of policy around trauma-informed care. A lot of what's happened in the US at the moment actually has been helped by the fact that there's a big opioid crisis, and so they are considering that they've got big problems. There's people who are dying, literally dying from addictions to opiates. So that's created a real focus on how to not criminalise that. Now the feeling is that 20, 30 years ago, when crack cocaine was considered a big problem in the US, that was tackled through criminalisation, through very low levels of amount that you needed to carry for a very big prison sentence. So young people sentenced to life in prison for 3 strikes and you're out, when it related to crack cocaine. And I think that also that kind of fit with a feeling that the communities affected by those two different drugs were they're back in the crack cocaine era. It was more the black communities, but people now in the opioid issue is more equally affecting white communities, and so many of the policymakers and lawmakers and decision makers in the states, interestingly, are now deciding that this is an issue that needs to be tackled through a different way, and trauma-informed approach offers that. So just to meet with those guys, to meet with Elizabeth Pruitt and her husband William Emmett, and to meet with Wendy Ellis, who's just a really vital cog in the wheel across the whole country here. She's coordinating, building stronger resilience, communities, collaboration, and I think that was the other thing I saw. Lots of real positives about what we already do in Lowestoft, in terms of we have collaboration, we have Lowestoft Rising and all the work that Phil has done there. So we have an agency that pulls together all the different strands at times. We've got a really positive approach to a lot of stuff, so there's lots of ways that we can use the learning, because that's what I found was that really just to coordinating the different parts of the system is really important, and having buy-in at the top. And so that was really interesting to see how political people had been influenced, particularly the politicians themselves. And then the last person I met up in Washington was Sis Wenger, who just awesome. She's the chief exec CEO of NACOA United States. Now NACOA in the UK is really focused around children of alcoholics, in the United States children of addicts, because again the opioid epidemic has meant that they've been kind of pushed into doing that. But what was most interesting to them is they've got some real focused courses, sessions, structured learning for parents, particularly for parents working, to improve resilience within families in a different way. I mean, very trauma informed in lots of ways, but also behavioural. But some really interesting stuff that I've got to bring back. So there's a big focus over there on working with churches, so training, church leaders and congregations in kind of supporting families and of addicts. Native American, because there's obviously a different culture, and Native American is a specific modules that they've written, with that in mind, and different videos and DVDs and everything. And then working with probation services, so keeping children with families even while someone might be incarcerated or in the criminal justice system. So I think that has had dramatic results, something like a 50% reduction in failing families who have been through this piece of work. So really successful stuff, so really exciting. I then flew here. It took forever, it felt like, to fly over to Washington State. It's actually such a long flight. I knew that because I'd obviously booked the thing, but actually it's 5.5 hours to get from Washington DC to Seattle in Washington State. because it's 2,300 miles, and if you think I flew 3,000 miles just to get to Boston from London, so it's almost two-thirds, or it's about two-thirds of the distance again, so it's a huge sort of gap, and it's a 3-hour time difference, which actually has worked out quite well with the UK. Actually, it feels like it's easier than the 5-hour one for some strange reason. But yes, I'm here, and I had the first day. I arrived on Thursday night, ended up arriving really late, so got up really early on Friday morning, came over to Hillsborough County, met with the fantastic Grant Corliss, who then introduced me to many of his staff members and colleagues, and he's just packed my schedule for a week with just shadowing people in schools, meeting with wellness teams, meeting with achievement coaches, and all the stuff I've got going on in all the different schools. So I'm going to be visiting lots of schools, lots of staff, seeing how different schools respond in different ways and make use of different resources, meeting children hopefully and families and talking to them about the impact of what's been done. And then obviously from the Grant and the guys that are in charge and administrators, learning how they've achieved that, because obviously budgets are an issue and costs are an issue, but they still managed to achieve some real innovation here. So it's really exciting, and Oregon itself is just awesome. We just saw a little glimpse of it out of my patio balcony. That is just beautiful, and it's a really interesting place. I've spent some time in Portland this weekend. Portland's a really amazing, really alternative cultural sort of place. Lots going on, so it's been nice to have a weekend without too much going on, because last weekend I was flying and I also took in some community work. This weekend I've kind of had less to do because I've got a full week ahead, and so I'm going for a run shortly, but apart from that it's all about next week getting into schools, and then after that I'm over to Walla Walla for the last 3-4 weeks, where I will be with those guys. So it's really exciting, and really enjoying it. Still in communication back home, but really feel like this week will be great, because I am in one place all week, so that'll be good for routine and just be able to settle in. And then now I'm observing actual projects on the ground, not the theory or the administration or the politics of projects, the actual delivery of projects, working with children on the ground. So that's going to be really exciting. So that's where I'm at. That's my second video blog, and there's 2 blogs to go with these, so check them out if you want to, and I'll check in again probably at the end of this week to tell you how I've got on in Hillsborough County.